Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening show today with your host Ram. And this part of the show we are going to look at South Africa completing the victory over New Zealand in a very wonderful fashion, in fact winning the match by an innings and 27 runs. So basically whatever resistance that New Zealand had yesterday, that was not something which happened today. It was like a tame surrender. But the only consolation for New Zealand out of this test match would be Dean Brownlie getting on to a century, and that too in a very fine fashion that he got to a century, which I'll be talking about it later in this report. And the other thing, we'll talk about the Australia versus Sri Lanka match, where the second day's place proceedings. So stumps on day 2. Australia are 342 for 6, so they are ahead by say 48 runs right now. They're leading Sri Lanka by 48 runs with 4 wickets standing. I will talk about that. But first, let me begin with the victory by South Africa. And this was the first test match of the new year. And what a way to start for South Africa, rolling out New Zealand for 45. It was always on the cards that South Africa were definitely going to win the match. And well, they did. In fact, this was the first test match of the new year, and it has started off with a bang. And many people, still I'm telling you, that people talk about the test matches. The test matches should be scrapped. Test matches are not interesting. But let me tell you, the results are there for all to see. So once again, the first test match of the new year has produced a great result, with New Zealand being rolled out for 45 in the second innings, making only 275 runs, and giving this particular match on a platter to South Africa, who won by the innings and 27 runs. And just before tea, the match was wrapped up, and that too on the third day. So a very clinical finish by South Africa here. As far as New Zealand were concerned, they didn't have anything of the sort that was produced yesterday as far as the resistance was concerned. Dean Brownlie and Brian Watling actually started it off today. They resumed at their overnight score, and they pushed on the score to 252 before Brian Watling was a victim of Philander. Philander taking his first wicket in the second innings, as he was caught by Smith with the bowling of Philander for 42 with 4 boundaries. After that, Franklin gave some support to Dean Brownlie at the other end, he making 22 with 2 boundaries. Other than that, the tail couldn't really come to the party, and that was the time Dean Brownlie had to really hurry to his maiden century. And what a way to bring it. In fact, he played some very handsome strokes, and the way he brought his century was really good to see. He knew that he was running out of partners and that he might be missing his century, so he went berserk. In fact, he hit Robin Peterson, the left-arm spinner, over mid-wicket for a 6, and then to reach his century, that was in majestic fashion, as Dean Brownlie reached his century with a 6. That was real guts there by Dean Brownlie, coming down the wicket and lofting Peterson over long off for a 6 to get to his maiden test century, and his contribution was 109 with 13 fours and 2 sixes. He played superbly, and I thought he played with a lot of spirit. He was really gutsy out there. He was taking body blows, but still staying there. But he played some very good strokes. Yes, he definitely had a life yesterday, but today he really played very well, and that is some good news for New Zealand, I think. Dean Brownlie, as you know, he played very well against Australia in Australian pitches, and then finally he faded away, and now finally he's back, and he's back with a bang. And as far as the new year is concerned, he's really back with a bang, with a maiden test century in the new year, that first test match of the new year, finishing in a victory for South Africa. 109 runs to him. It was very well made. As far as the tailenders were concerned, there was no wagging of the tail. Doug Bracewell was out for a duck. Jeetan Patel was out for 8. Trent Boult remained not out on 2. Chris Madden run out on not. 275 all out. New Zealand losing the first test match here, with South Africa going 1-0. As far as the bowling figures were concerned, Dale Steyn 30 over 6 maidens, 67 runs on 3 wickets. Philander got 2 for 76 of 24 overs and 8 maidens. And he was the man of the match for really skittling out New Zealand for 45 in the first innings, which really made this victory possible for South Africa by an innings and 27 runs. Molly Morkel 21 over 6 maidens, 50 runs on 1 wicket. 11.1 overs 3 maidens, 31 runs and 2 wickets for Jack Scalise. And Robin Peterson 16 over 6 maidens, 1 for 42. This is a 2-match series, so New Zealand have one more opportunity now. If at all they could do it, they could try to level the series, winning the second test match, if at all. Probably that test match is starting on 11th of January, if I am right. Well, so that wraps it up as far as this particular test match is concerned. As I said, the match is over in probably 2.5 days, so that is really something. The match was over in, yes, it was over. Today's 4th of January, right? So the match is over in 3 days, so 3 days flat. Okay, so now let's move on from here. Vernon Philander was named man of the match. And now moving on to the match between Australia and Sri Lanka. We had the second day's proceedings starting off. As you know, Sri Lanka on the first day were bowled out for 294, and Australia finished off at 342 for 6 at close of play with I would say 48 runs and 4 wickets still standing. As far as Australia were concerned, well, for them, they didn't have a good start. In fact, they were the first breakthrough that Sri Lanka got was courtesy a run out. There was a misunderstanding between David Warner and Cowan was run out by a combination of a Pradeep Prasad for 4 and Australia were 36 for 1. As far as, and after that, there was a very, very good partnership. And 130 runs partnership ensued between David Warner, who was very, very aggressive, and also Phil Hughes, who was very, very attractive. And both of them were really, really carving a lot of strokes on the offside. And Phil Hughes in particular, as you know, his offside is his very, very strength area. He was really, really playing some beautiful strokes. David Warner, as you know, what he does, he really likes to get going at the crease, and that's what he was doing. And as I said, both the batsmen were playing some lovely strokes down the offside, and the Sri Lankan bowlers were really, really suffering under that blade. And that was a very, very good partnership. It took the score on to 166. The partnership was worth 130 runs. And the next wicket to go was David Warner, who tried to actually loft Tilakratne Dilshan down the ground. Damika Prasad taking a very well judged catch, and he was gone for 85 of 84 balls, 10 fours and no sixes. After that, it was Phil Hughes' turn to leave. Phil Hughes, after making an attractive 87, and both of them missed their centuries in fact, but Phil Hughes, after making an attractive 87 with 9 boundaries, was gone as he tried to play a ball away from the body from Rangana Herath, which was spinning away, and in fact he edged it to the wicketkeeper Chandimal, who behind the stumps did the rest. So he was gone for 87, so that made the score 195 for 3, as Michael Clarke, the captain, was joined in by Michael Hussey, the person who was playing his second last innings, if at all, and then he would play his last innings, as you know. Michael Hussey on his last innings in Test cricket, in fact second last innings I would say, unfortunately was run out by a very good throw from Karunaratne. So it was very sad to see Michael Hussey being run out for 25 with absolutely no boundary in this particular innings. But Michael Hussey, well, as you know, it was his last. This is his last Test match. It's his swan song, and probably would have liked to do better. But unfortunately, he was run out. As far as Michael Clarke was concerned, Michael Clarke was he was using his feet very, very well to Rangana Herath. As you know, the pitch has started taking its turn, and Michael Clarke made 50 runs with 5 fours and 1 6. He was twinkling feet as far as Rangana Herath is concerned. As you know, he plays the spinners well, and he contributed 50 runs. So nobody was really able to go on to make a century there. After that, it was Mitchell Johnson, who was caught by Chandimal with the bowling of Pradeep for 13 with 1 boundary, and it left the day. Australia finished the day with Matthew Wade in a partnership with Peter Siddle right now. Matthew Wade was not out on 47 with 3 boundaries looking good. Peter Siddle was not out on 16 with 2 boundaries. Australia finishing at 342 for 6, a lead of 48 runs. As far as the bowling was concerned, Sranga Lakmal, 20 overs, 4 maidens, none for 63, bowled well, I thought. Nuwan Pradeep was a very, very costly, 14 overs costing him 83 runs with a wicket to his name. Damika Prasad, 11 overs, went for 53. Angel Matthews bowled 2 overs for 11. Tilakratne Dilshan, 19 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 58. Rangana had 22 overs, 3 maidens, 69 runs and 2 wickets. Well, let me tell you, 342, I'm sure Sri Lanka will go with it. Probably they would have expected Australia to put up a very, very good score, much bigger than this. But well, I would say it was thanks to some injudicious strokes being played by Australia that they found themselves at 342 for 6. Otherwise, I thought David Warner and Phil Hughes could have gone to a century, and there's some very, very silly runouts. Now, the only thing that I would like to tell here is that the 48 runs, it's not a big lead for Australia, but let me tell you, Australia are the ones who will be batting last on this pitch, and the pitch at SCG is already showing signs of turn. As you know, Rangana Herath is a very, very wily bowler. He's already started turning the ball, and there is turn available, and the turn is only going to become more pronounced as the days go by, with 3 more days to go in this particular Test match. And I think Australia will be under the pump, under a lot of pressure, because even though Sri Lanka will give a low target to Australia, it's sure that Australia has to really, really play well, use their skills to combat the spinners. and Rangana Herath is a very, very good bowler. On turning wickets, he could be absolutely deadly. Let me tell you that. So, but it all depends on how many runs Australia can eke out in the first session of this particular third day of this final Test match. If they could eke out a lot of runs, that would be good. Other than that, well, as I said, it all depends on whether Sri Lanka can really get those last 4 wickets pretty quickly in the morning session today. If they do that, that would be to that good. But as I said, it's not going to be easy, as the ball has already started turning, and the ball is only going to turn square as the days go by. But well, we have a very, very interesting game on hand. I thought Sri Lanka have done well to restrict of Australia to 342 for 6, but I thought the 342 for 6 is something absolutely to Australia's making. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, on this note, I'm going to end my cricket show, as I'm also running out of time right now. But it has always been a pleasure bringing you this cricket happening show, cricket updates, cricket scores, cricket reports, cricket summaries, and cricket previews as and when it becomes available. And today it was likewise. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings. Your host Ram signing off for the day, but promising you that I'll be back with you tomorrow. But as you know, Saturday it's always a late report, as you know. That's it from me, your host Ram, for the cricket show for today. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.